Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johann.
And we are at minute 33. This minute begins with Carmen and Amy Smart blasting out of a tube and ends with Carmen telling Amy Smart, well, that today I get to fly that. But we don't get to see what it is. But yeah, as you can probably hear, I'm a little under the weather today, guys. So we start out with Carmen and Amy Smart, because I don't remember her weird in-screen name. I'm just going to call her Amy Smart. They're blasting out of a tube from a Terrascova base, it looks like.
I think Amy Smart's character isn't actually named until the end of the movie, where they actually say, like, they do that other recruitment film where everybody has moved up in the ranks and they finally introduce her name.
Stack Lumbridge, I believe what it was. But yeah, it's a weird name.
Yeah, I remember it being Stack, but it's just the movie actually never introduces her name until the end.
I'd rather call her Amy Smart anyway. But yeah, they're blasting out of this. And before the last minute, actually, we see the tube close as well, too, before... after they launch out of it too. So the tube where they're entering, the shuttle enters the tube closes off. So it looks like it's getting vacuum sealed now, before they get launched out. And, as soon as they get to a certain point, the outer doors open and they get released. This kind of reminds me of, Battlestar Galactica, the recent, series where they had all the Vipers launching out of the magnetic tubes and everything. And especially at the bottom, too, when you're looking at this scene, you can see, like, there's a track probably where the shuttle is launched onto with a catapult as well, too. So it's not only the thrusters that are helping them escape, it's also a launch catapult, like a aircraft carrier. So it looks kind of neat. But yeah, as soon as everything is all shaky, like we're going on a roller coaster, we launch out and everything is nice and smooth, like it usually would be. The scene changes a little bit. And we see that they are getting out of Terrascova base, and they are deploying their wings to get up into the moon base. Actually, it's called Lunar Base. It's the ring station around the moon.
Yeah, see, I wanted to bring up a little bit on those wings, because without those wings, or they use the wings basically to fly around in the actual space area, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So how are they actually piloting through whatever flight path she took? We spent a lot of time on the last minute talking about how she violated all, I guess, like...
regulations and everything?
Yeah, like any flight plan.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to keep going on that.
I know, but... yeah, but this is where it starts to raise a lot more questions. So you only get the wings deployed on the ship when you can theoretically actually pilot it, because it's no longer contained in that magnetic tube, like, you know, the assumption like in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that make what she did incredibly dangerous?
Yeah, actually, a little bit more dangerous. We'll actually continue on with a little bit. She actually gets into the ring itself. They actually do like a Star Wars trench run on it, which is incredibly dangerous, especially if you have wings deployed. The wings actually wouldn't make really that much difference in space, because there's no atmosphere and there's no surface area that they need to bounce off of to create lift. My only theory is this would have some extra RCS thrusters to make it a little more maneuverable, if anything. But even still, having those extra wings, make it very, very difficult for them to fly through these, through the trench run, is what I'll call it from now on.
Yeah. I also noticed in the last minute, we were so engulfed in Carmen's need to violate all flight regulations. We actually did not talk about Amy Smart.
We didn't at all.
So I wanted to bring up just a couple of things about Amy Smart, just so we can finally get it out of the way that, hey, we talked about her. We know who she is. All right. So to me, She was actually one of the actors in this movie did not remember was in this movie. Like when I saw her in Varsity Blues and Road Trip, I could not remember that she was in Starship Troopers until I rewatched it.
Holy crap, she was in Road Trip, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, she was just one of those people that was just like, oh, geez, she was in Starship Troopers? I forgot.
Yeah, like I didn't even remember her until we started doing these movies by minutes again.
Yeah. So, couple things about her. She was also in a movie called Strangeland. I don't think a lot of people saw this. I know it was really big to me when I was in the body mod community. She was cast opposite of Dee Snider, who also wrote the movie. And he plays a main antagonist called Captain Howdy, which is just as creepy as it sounds. He had like face tattoos, and even Robert Englund of from Nightmare on Elm Street, he's in it.
Okay.
And he this is how much it was in the body mod community. This is why it's like really kind of like a niche movie. Robert Englund dies while he's being suspended. And if people don't know what being suspended is, it's when you throw hooks in your back. They're about like 6 to 4 gauge hooks. They can generally be used from fishing hooks for deep sea fishing into the back, and you're basically suspended from the ground.
Yeah, warning for like anyone who's squeamish about blood or like piercing or anything like that. Be careful before you look it up online or anything like that. It can make your skin crawl a little bit, but it is pretty awesome because it just shows off the power and also the strength and textile strength of the body and the skin, especially when you have multiple hooks hooked in.
Yeah, and it's weird because each hook can hold, well, the portion of flesh that the hook is into can hold close to, I think, like 80 to 90 pounds of a human's body weight.
Yeah.
So some people of average size manage to stay up by about 2 hooks. Yeah, like Matt said, disclaimer, if you're going to look it up, it's most likely not safe for work or school. Some cases might not be safe for life if you're not into those sort of things. If blood is an issue, don't look it up. That's why I'll just explain to you what it is.
I'm getting a little bit squeamish right now just thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, in my past, I've done that, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So I've done suspensions. I've done pulls. Pulls are not as aggressive as suspensions. But anyways, back to the movie. Robert Englund is being suspended, and he gets killed by Dee Snider. So Dee Snider has tattoos all over his face. They even do lacing. Even if you look up the box cover of Strangeland, it is very creepy. But yes, it seemed to have been made more for a niche crowd at the time. Now it seems like some of those like face tattoos, all that, neck tattoos, it's more accepted now. But at the time, she was in that movie with Dee Snider.
That's awesome.
So now Amy Smart, she's a yoga instructor. For someone that came from this era of like 90s movies like Road Trip, Euro Trip, all those movies, she's actually aged incredibly well, which is very good for her. She kind of stayed out of the spotlight. She just became more involved with her family and her kid. So Amy Smart, good for you. You did very well, considering you came out of a lot of these 90 movies and a lot of people didn't really come out too well.
Yeah, she's 41. My goodness, she looks good.
Yeah, she does. So, I just wanted to talk about Amy Smart for a little bit because, she's still technically a very prominent actress, even though she's not in the limelight anymore. I guess she made the decision to just not chase something that a lot of people chase after big movies, but instead she's just done really well with her life. So good for her.
Yeah. If you want to see her recently, she's on Shameless, actually, which is still running.
Yeah. That one, I didn't watch it too much because I watched the UK version. And then when the US version was trying really hard to do what the UK does, but UK has more lacks regulations on what they can show on TV. It's just like, stop trying to be edgy. You can't in this world.
Yeah.
So I stopped. But William H. Macy did seem really good in that movie, or
Yeah.
I mean in that show.
He definitely is.
But the main, or the father that he's portraying in the UK's Shameless, the one thing I'll give it, he is way worse. And William H. Macy kind of dials it down a bit and makes him a little bit more likable.
Oh.
Because he's horrible. The dad is just horrible. So we see them flying around. They finally get to the wings deployed. They're, like you said, that they're going to do this trench run, which looks like you're not supposed to go there with all these moving parts. None of them are defensive purposes. So it just means like you probably aren't supposed to be here.
No, I mean, there should be. Yes, it's like a skeletal structure of the ring base itself too, but it looks like, yeah, this is only for like maintenance vehicles or like transports that like fly in through. Like, remember did you see the latest Star Trek, the movie?
Yes.
Okay, the one where they have like the trains and everything running through like the spine of the station and everything.
Yeah.
It looks like there would be like a train or some kind of other transport running through the middle of this, and she would have to dodge it or something. But it's weird too, because when I rewatched this over and over again, I noticed that the reason I call it the trench run is because she does the exact same maneuver that Luke does in the trench run, which he comes in through the right-hand side, dips down, and then kind of does like a left-hand bank, and then goes in the middle again. So it's exactly like the trench run. It's like dumb. It's like, well, it's not dumb, but it's silly how like similar it is.
Well, I think it's dumb that she's going through this area, considering, yeah, like you said, there are structured parts. If she were to cause an incident, I'm pretty sure there's a huge portion of this base that would collapse.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're in space. This thing is probably spinning because it has to maintain a orbit around the moon. If she breaches a part of it, it could have structural integrity issues. It could collapse the whole entire thing. Part of it would fall into the moon. The moon would like deorbit and probably hit the Earth or something like that. But that's like a what if a what if like horrible scenario on that part. But yeah, she should not be flying this. Let me continue on with my tirade about regulations and loading a flight plan. My goodness, she did not do it. She's just running through everything. And even the cadets behind her, Amy Smart and the other two cadets, are freaked out because of what she's doing. She is not flying safely.
Yeah, Amy Smart just realizes the mistake she did when she said first one flies a plane.
Yeah, she definitely is.
And the other cadet that you can see, like, positioned in the middle of the screen between Amy Smart and Denise Richards, he is freaking out. He's doing a great job, like, being the freaked out cadet, because, like, this would be scary.
It would be. I mean, you're in a ship with a known, possibly psychopath who doesn't care about anything but herself. Probably her psych profile says something about this. Not only that, but she is hot on the stick, and she wants to show off. She's like a maverick. And she's doing a Death Star run on a probably $1 trillion, starship or a starbase just for kicks.
Wouldn't that make her more of a sociopath than a psychopath?
At that point, it's blurring the lines between both of those. Because
sociopath has like a lack of conscience where she wouldn't care about anybody else so long as she gets her own thrill.
I'm saying that she's a little bit of both because, I don't like her.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's just my opinion. I believe that she's sociopathic more than she is psychopathic.
Definitely.
Like,
yeah.
She knows exactly what she's doing, is my understanding.
Yeah.
She knows she's endangering people's lives. She knows she's toying with Johnny's emotions. So I believe that she is sociopathic. But I'm also noticing that during this trench run, she's going through a lot of like tanks and compressors of certain kinds, like probably life-sustaining parts for this ship.
Or like
or this
cooling,
this
yeah.
yeah. So this, I'm assuming that if there's any maintenance to be done here, a lot of them wouldn't be in ships.
Definitely.
Like this is stuff you need to be careful of, because um the braces on this thing, when I pause it at certain points, it's actually skinnier than the ship. That means that it's there for only certain reasons, to house probably these compressors and whatnot. But then they don't want anything too bulky so that people can walk in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, this seems like it would be the only accessible to, as I said, maybe like that tram thing, if they do have that in this thing. It would make sense. But also, this would only be accessible to people who are doing maintenance in hard suits, or a small, like, repair pod or something like that. Something smaller than this and a lot slower than the shuttle.
Yeah. It reminded me of that, what was that ride? I think it was in Universal Studios, when it's like, hey, what are you doing here? Come on, get out. And then they show you like the other way. It's like, this is the path she went through.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
what are
yeah.
you doing here? But anyways, yeah, going through this thing like second by second is just, there's even a computer here. At like 3227, you can see a computer light up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff here that she should have been clear of.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, her, and also, like, there are like no warning things on her screen as well too. Her screen is just doing, basic, I did pause it at the point, but unfortunately I'm a little too sick to go into my notes about the screen and everything. I did have a long tirade about how, I'm not a tirade, I had a long exposition about the screen, but unfortunately I'm a little too sick for that. But her, I mean, even in my game Elite Dangerous, if I'm too close to something, alarms start blaring. She's maybe about 9 or so meters away from certain things. Her alarms should be blaring like crazy, like, don't sink, pull up, kind of thing.
Yeah, but if there's no flight plan, it doesn't know exactly what's around at certain points, correct?
Well, no, it's
unless it's
sorry, go ahead.
Unless she shut it all off.
Well, that's the thing. You can't shut that stuff off. I mean, in planes, no matter what, even if you're, not flying a flight plan, the computer knows that, oh, my altimeter says I am 30 meters above the deck. You need to pull up. And it'll say, pull up, You don't sink, you're going too slow. It's just, it knows what's going on and tells you, hey, something's up, don't do this, you need to speed up, you need to slow down, you need to get away. But it actually turns from the trench run into the Return of the Jedi internal run, because she pulls up and goes in between like a bunch of other conduits and everything to try to fly out of the ring itself. So yeah, we go from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi real quick.
Here's the thing that kind of scares me about when she pulls up into that very, very small service port. She has to know it existed.
So she's done this before?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like, because it's just a sudden pull on the stick, and she goes straight up, and everybody's like, what the hell? And then she goes through just narrow, like, it just barely fits the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So she's done this sort of thing before.
That's another thing that's bugging me about this too. They're not wearing any, like, harnesses or anything.
No, because there's... Well, yeah, there still would be G's.
No, yeah, because if you're doing these kind of maneuvers, especially that pull up into that service, corridor, you're pulling at least, I don't know how fast they're going, but you're pulling maybe 3 to 4 G's, and you're pulling it in a different direction. You're going to be like flung backwards or sideways or, which ways, especially if you're going that fast. Yeah, if you do a little deviation, you're going to be pulled, especially in space.
Yeah, seatbelts aren't going to do it, which is what they put on. They just put on regular seatbelts and never put on a harness.
No, they need a 5-point harness at least.
Yeah. So, I'm just wondering if the paneling on this base was done on purpose, the way it is, because it kind of looks like camo at certain points. It's like maybe it's supposed to resemble the moon behind it, so it's not just a white ring.
It could be that. I also noticed this kind of paneling on like hero models of like the Starship Enterprise or any other starship kind of thing as well too, like where it looks like off gray on one and then a little darker off gray and then a little lighter off gray. It just looks like it was kind of built together, but they're not all matching kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, but to me it kind of looks like really up close digital camo.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering if it was done on purpose so it blends to the moon.
Well, true. I mean, I don't think you want a big red ring around the moon or anything like that. But yeah, that makes sense.
It would be kind of bad to have a big red ring around the moon, though.
Yeah, it would be.
But so they show the infamous missile cannons that you like so much.
Oh yeah, they actually do show the defenses up here.
Some of them, I'm not sure if that's. Oh no, okay, that's a port for a ship. I thought it was a. At first, I thought the ship port was like a gigantic rail cannon, and then you see the ship at the very end.
Yeah, so this looks like it is actually. I have confirmed on the Starship Troopers wiki that this is the basic, or this is the main military naval base for the Federation. Everything is docked here. Everything gets sent out here. All the ships are docked around the moon. This is an easier way to do this because if you have something around Earth, it's a lot harder to leave Earth's sphere of influence than it is to leave the moon's sphere of influence. Now, while you're in moon orbit and you're in Earth orbit as well, because the moon is around the Earth, you're still technically in Earth's sphere of influence, but it's a lot easier to leave lunar orbit and the Earth's orbit from the moon just because there's not as much pull from Earth at all from back there. So this is a perfect place for a launching platform or any kind of base in the future for us as well too. I mean, one of the things that NASA and all the other companies are planning to do is possibly make a moon base to pick up hydrogen and convert it into fuel to launch stuff from the moon. Just because, yeah, it's a lot easier to get out of the orbit of Earth from the moon than it is Earth itself.
Yeah. I know we've seen these uniforms before when Xander first wore them to the dance, but when you see him in uniform, or not uniform, but like where everybody's wearing it, they really start to look very Nazi-ish.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely they do. I mean, we won't see that until like a later minute where it just straight up is, complete and utter SS, but
oh, I know. Yeah. I know which minute you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, skull badge and everything, but we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, because like the gray and black, obviously, but then also for some reason, the eagle, it just seems like really, really close to it. Like it just needs a skull on it, and it's just like, all right, that's a Nazi uniform.
Yeah.
And the ship apparently comes fully equipped with heat lamps in the back, which I guess would be necessary if you're in space.
Yeah, just because especially if this ship is so small, it may not have the thermal protection as it normally would. But I mean, thermal protection is not that hard to do. Even like in the Apollo spacecrafts, those were fitted with just sheets of tinfoil basically to protect it from vacuum and heat of space. And yeah, while like in Apollo 13 they did get really, really cold in there because they had to turn off the heaters, it still was about maybe like 40 degrees. It wasn't as cold as space, because space, I mean, you're gonna freeze instantly pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, I just noticed that the heat lamps were in the back next to the African American actor. It's like positioned right behind him. So it's the first glimpse I actually see of it, because it seems to be positioned behind him. So we also see Amy Smart looking at what looks like Carmen Diaz's dead eyes, where she's flying across with that gigantic smile with the glazed over look on her eyes, like she's not caring if she's going to kill everybody else so long as she gets her thrill.
Basically, she can't get off unless she gets like within 3 meters of a giant space station going 30 meters per second or whatever it is. She needs this thrill so she can get her rocks off.
So you're saying she's she's sexually She's adrenaline sexual.
I'm thinking so. I mean, look at her smile. She's just like, she's like giggling and happy that she's doing this like run. She's going in between dangerous things. And the whole entire time while she's flying, she has the same smile. And
So you're saying,
yes,
so it's like she's not an adrenaline junkie where adrenaline junkies do it for fun. She does it for sexual release.
yes, I'm saying that.
So this is this is my maybe leading why she kept toying with Johnny, because she's like, this is fun, like this adrenaline rush. Oh, it's getting me hot and heavy just to tease with them and all that. And then this is finally like her answer, like, oh, this is what I needed.
Yeah, unfortunately, for the next minute, she'll be flying something a little smaller and a little less nimbler than a shuttle.
Yeah, but we know how she doesn't treat that with much respect either.
Oh my gosh. And we'll get into that in the next minutes as well too, because oh my gosh, she does not have the regulation. She does not have the wherewithal to understand regulations or flying a flight fan, because as soon as she gets out there, she's still flying pretty darn close to the ring. Now she's clear of all these like obstacles and whatnot, but holy crap, is she still close?
You get to see kind of, I'm not sure if that's Earth in the background.
It is Earth, yeah.
There's a lot of either dead planes or smog.
It looks like the Earth is, no, that's definitely Earth. It just looks like it's that looks like it's the Asian continent. So like Russia,
That's
India,
very
and everything.
big Asian continent.
Yeah, they may have not gotten the dimensions correct on the Earth or what it looks like from that distance either. It does look a little different on that part.
Yeah. I was just thinking well, I'm not sure what it is. It could be Earth, but it also could not be Earth.
Oh, it's Earth. I mean, I definitely saw Japan in there.
That's not the shape of Japan. Okay, because to the right of that island that may be Japan, there's immediately another landform right there.
Okay.
So I'd like to say it may be New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a different angle. Like maybe at this point the Earth twisted on its axis. Who knows? But it would have destroyed the entire Earth at this point.
Yeah.
Or maybe they start terraforming more because lack of space.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean that definitely is the moon. It looks kind of weird. I'm looking at it right now. Denise Richards is looking down all weirdly at the moment.
Oh god, that I wasn't looking at that, but that is a weird face.
You know what that looks like actually? That kind of looks, I want to say, a little bit like India, maybe the Indonesian islands and everything.
But like I said, this is a very big Asia continent.
Yeah,
it looks like it almost looks Pangean.
It really does. I can't tell honestly. Because again, most of it is covered in dark. Wait a second. No, that makes sense. Never mind. I was about to say the direction of where the Earth is facing and where the light is coming in. I don't know if it should be lit up like that, but it makes total sense that it's lit up like that because you get like
it's
a
facing
full moon.
the moon.
Yeah, it's full moon and everything, so it makes sense.
So at 3257, we're also looking at what is presumably Denise Richards' O face.
Yeah. Oh God. No. I regret saying that now.
That is just a creepy look. She's like, because she finally sees the ship that she's going to be piloting.
Thank
we don't
goodness.
see it at this minute yet, but she's like, that. Oh.
Thank goodness I wore my nighttime ones.
Yeah, this is not an attractive look for her.
No,
unfortunately. It's not. I mean, as much as we harp on Carmen and Denise Richards isn't the bad person, it's going to be Carmen Ibanez. This is not the most attractive that Denise Richards has ever been.
No. But she does like a little turn, but that's when that minute ends. Besides that, I absolutely love the model of the lunar base. It looks, I mean, it doesn't look CG at all. It looks like at least partial of it was a miniature, and then they just superimposed it over and over again to make it look longer and longer, because you could probably do that. But this thing looks great even today, which is a really big advocation for practical effects nowadays, especially in light of all this, still good looking CG, but if you can make something, I mean, yeah, it will take a long time, maybe a month or two to actually make this. But if you can get something like this where it still looks good 20 years later, why not do it?
Yeah, this model of the ship itself, I think, is fantastic. But yeah, I can see how something like this could be built pretty easily. But oh man, because you can see where they probably may have shaved certain things from something to create the ship. Fine.
Yeah.
But you can see all the stuff that's added on, like the little domes for I don't know what reason, the communication tower. I think kind of like in a midway of the ship, you can see where all the supplies are probably loaded in on that dip portion of the ship.
Yeah.
That actually is kind of a cool add-on. It's not just like a port that's just kind of fused to the side of it like someone would get away with, because that would make sense. But this also makes incredible sense for an aesthetic pleasure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so it looks nice.
Yeah, like you would drop everything down like in some VRC onto the ship, like a huge VRC, and that's where it comes down. VRC, for those that don't know, it's a vertical reciprocating container, aka a gigantic elevator carrying about thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
But it looks like that's what they do instead of pushing things, because pushing is more stressful than putting it onto this sort of thing where gravity, where there is none, machinery just takes its place. So it's just aesthetically way more pleasing than just putting a bunch of hoses to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they'd still have some gravity because of the moons pulling on it, but even still, they're going fast enough where they don't have to worry about it that much.
Yeah, but if you're loading in tons of fuel, food, I'm assuming clothing and other maintenance stuff, something that would drop straight down versus pushing it across an entire bay is actually kind of good.
Yeah, definitely it is.
Because because they could conveyor everything to one point, and then because there's lifts and whatnot, but if you turn a corner on something like that, it would definitely be way more stressful on a person's body. So I'm just thinking that maybe there was a design for that, maybe not, but to me it's looking like it makes a lot of sense to do something like that.
Yeah, it definitely does. But yeah, Amy Smart says, well, hey, you're really giddy today. Well, obviously she just got off, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, and
she's like turning the ship around. Now go make me a sandwich.
Oh God, no. But yeah, Amy Smart basically asks, Stack Lumbridge asks Carmen, hey, why are you such in a good mood today? And Carmen says, because I get to fly that. But she turns the ship, but before we get to see what happens, that's when the minute ends.
Yeah. Some more teasing by Carmen.
Oh God.
You can thank her for everything, guys.
But that's where their minute ends. Do you want to say anything else about this minute at all, Johann?
No. I did just want to get it out of the way that we do acknowledge Amy Smart. But then when we mentioned on the last minute about her being named Stack, that's when I realized she was never actually introduced until the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll get those two out of the way.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm good for now. Other than I think we have to put Denise Richards' O-face for the cover.
Oh, don't make me do that. Please don't make me do that. Okay, I'll do it. But where can they find you, Johann?
So you guys can find me on Twitch and Instagram under JDASHD26 or J-D26. Lately, I've just been streaming a lot of Overwatch because I just got it. And right now I'm level 19 and doing pretty good with Junkrat. So
And you guys can find me at AltTabMatt pretty much anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. I actually just posted a clip of myself streaming this morning, some Elite Dangerous, where I did a bit of Top Gun, a little bit of a Top Gun trick where I tapped the brakes and he flew right by me.
Oh, boo. I thought you gave him the international symbol while flying upside down.
Oh, I do that constantly anyway, but I mean, the tap the brake thing was just pretty awesome. Like, I did it and I was like, oh, there it is. and one of our listeners actually was watching me. Shout out to Marvin. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching, dude. You're awesome.
So if you guys would like to follow us, we are also on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, if I'm not mistaken. And please like and subscribe us. So you can also visit our website at theroughneckminute.podbean.com. Follow us on Twitter at roughneckmin, M-I-N. So you can also continue the conversation on our Facebook group, the Roughneck Minute Billet, B-I-L-L. I've been your host, Johann.
And I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
Thank you for listening, and see you on the bounce, troopers.